Hello everybody, my name is Rachel Gunn and I'm so excited to be finishing up the last semester of my Instructional Technology EDS program. On a personal level, this is my third year teaching science at Swainsboro High School. I serve on several different committees, but most importantly this year is the Technology Leadership Committee. And on top of that, my husband and I are expecting our first baby in March, which we're very excited about. As you can see, I chose to complete my capstone and research project on the effects of mobile devices on student engagement. To introduce you to the idea of mobile device implementation and the effects that it could have on student engagement, I wanted to read for you a quote published by West in 2013. American education was designed for agrarian and industrial eras and does not provide all the skills needed for a 21st century economy. This creates major problems for your people about to enter the labor force. With that quote in mind, the purpose of this study is to delve into the world of student learning via mobile devices and analyze the impact that these devices have on student engagement. With that said, the overarching research question for this capstone project is how does the implementation of mobile devices into the classroom affect student engagement? There are many different reasons for why I wanted to study the effects of mobile devices in the classroom, but the most important had to do with its relevance to our current Bring Your Own Device policy. Our school at Swainsboro High School is sort of at a crossroads between teachers and administrators that want to encourage the BYOD policy and those that would like to do away with it. Last year we did have the BYOD policy, but we had such an issue with students misusing the devices, not putting them away where they were supposed to, being on sites that they weren't supposed to, that many people really don't see the purpose of these devices and aren't encouraging their use. So I wanted to conduct research on this topic to be able to provide relevant and beneficial information and data to my administrators. Right now, the literature available for mobile devices and its effect on student engagement is still fairly new and sparse, but the current studies, especially in schools where one-to-one device access is available, has shown them to be extremely successful. Now, compared to my school, where we don't have access to iPads for every student or a netbook for every student, I expect it to be a little bit different. The majority of the studies did focus on the best practices for utilizing mobile devices as opposed to how they actually affect engagement. I did find several other similar articles. One in particular was pointed out and talked about the monetary value of implementing BYOD policies. And of course, everyone knows and realizes that when you first implement any form of technology, that there is a huge cost up front, but how eventually, once the technology was in place, yes, you'd have to pay for the upkeep, but it still was a lot cheaper than buying textbooks every several years. A couple of other interesting articles focused on how there was a huge need for teacher willingness and the ability to implement effective mobile device technology in the classrooms. Basically, this article was done by a college, and it talked about how no matter what technology you have, if the teachers aren't willing and don't have the knowledge and skills to use it, it will not be successful. My research project was a qualitative methodology design. It included three data components. The first were student interviews, which were conducted at the beginning of the semester, where the students were asked a couple questions to give their thoughts and perspectives, which I'll show you in just a second. The second were student surveys that were given to the same group of students at the end of the semester. And the third were field observations done by myself sporadically throughout the semester. The participants I chose for this study are students in the honors math and science classes that were already placed where the teacher has a reputation for effectively using the mobile devices. Originally, I had planned on implementing the different mobile device strategies into my own classroom, but as it got closer to time, I began thinking and realizing that it would be more beneficial for me and for my research to actually observe and analyze teachers in classrooms who already knew what they were doing. Like I said, there were 3 measurement tools: the student interviews, the student surveys, and the field observations. Here's a copy of the mobile device technology student interview questions that I gave the students at the very beginning of the semester. The results of the interview analysis are as follows. All students understood the purpose of mobile device learning. The majority of students had daily access to mobile devices. Only 15% of students either did not have a device or noted that their parents did not allow them to bring it to school. Students have access to various personal mobile devices, but overwhelmingly phones, apps, and a few tablets. There were opposite feelings regarding whether or not mobile devices would increase student engagement. The majority of students responded that it would increase learning and engagement for a lot of students, but that you would always have students who would be distracted and misuse the device. Several students even admitted that they would be tempted to use social media while on their device. Several students offered suggestions as to how teachers could improve the effectiveness of mobile device learning in the classroom, such as A. Being effective and firm with student monitoring using a one-strike and you are out system. B. Using mobile devices to communicate, forward PowerPoints, take notes, send out reminders, and other organizational tools. C. Submit quizzes electronically. D. Allow only those who are responsible to use these devices. And E. Have the technology department block access to some sites, for example, of course, Facebook. These initial student interviews were very beneficial and highlighted several trends. First, most of the students thought that mobile devices could be used very effectively, and almost everyone had access to a device. Since almost all students have device access, the teacher can either allow students to work in pairs, give alternate assignments to those students who wish to not use devices, or check out tablets from the Media Center for the students who need them. Another trend is that the students understood how mobile devices could be a distractor for some students and acknowledged that the teachers would have to be very careful to monitor student activity. Overall, the interviews were very positive towards mobile devices and student engagement. The survey results given to the students at the end of the semester are shown in this picture. All significant values designated at 30% or greater are highlighted. Students were asked to rank their feelings on the 5 questions after completing a whole semester of engaged mobile learning. The data analysis shows that the majority of students felt strongly or very strongly in all categories at the end of the semester. Students demonstrated that they indeed felt more engaged in their learning over the mobile device semester. They increased their level of comfort. They felt like they learned more, and overwhelmingly they felt more connected with their classmates by using mobile devices. The only category that showed slightly different results was that 46% of the students did not feel like the use of mobile devices was effective for all students, even if it was effective for them personally. The classroom field observations, which are shown in the next 2 slides, were conducted towards the end of the semester by the researcher to analyze student engagement while utilizing lessons with high technology and content standards with mobile devices. The field log, coding, and analysis are shown. The results of the field observations were unbelievably positive. During the 30-minute observations, all students were actively engaged, and especially important, they were on task. The researcher did not note that any students were misusing their devices or distracted by them. The students were interested and were using their devices in a beneficial way that seemed to increase student learning. With this said, it should be noted that both teachers observed have excellent classroom management and procedures, which probably increase the successfulness of the mobile device implementation. In conclusion, this research has shown that mobile devices do have the ability to increase engagement and therefore the learning of students. However, just because mobile devices can increase student engagement does not mean that they always will. Individual teachers will play a major factor in this. If a classroom is well organized, the teacher enforces specific procedures, and the teacher monitors students very carefully, the chances of a mobile device classroom being successful are much higher. Even students realize that if they or their peers are not carefully managed, then mobile devices can be more of a problem than a tool to enhance learning. It seems that mobile devices will definitely be the way of the future, which means that schools, administrators, faculty, and staff will all need training to ensure their success. Looking back over this EDS program, I cannot believe all that I've actually accomplished. I've gained so much knowledge, so many skills, and developed so many individual characteristics that I know are going to help me in the future. This has been a great learning experience. I'm very excited to hopefully be a graduate now, but it's been a very, very beneficial experience.